I'm Clara Wilson, and I'm sitting in the courthouse parking lot staring at my divorce papers like they're some kind of foreign language. 38 years old, and I'm officially single again. The ink's still wet on Judge Martinez's signature, but somehow I expected to feel different. "Congratulations, Mrs. Wilson," my lawyer had said with that practiced smile lawyers use when they've made their money. Congratulations, right, like failing at marriage is some kind of achievement. The steering wheel feels cold under my grip as I fight back tears. 15 years with David, and all I got was this manila folder and a splitting headache. God, what am I supposed to do now? My phone buzzes. Text from my supervisor at Honolulu General. "Looking forward to having you back Monday." Fresh start for everyone. Fresh start. That's what everyone keeps saying. My sister, my friends, even the damn divorce counselor. Like starting over at 38 is some exciting adventure instead of terrifying as hell. I drive home to my new studio apartment, the one I can actually afford on a nurse's salary. It's smaller than our old walk-in closet, but it's mine. David can keep the house and his precious golf clubs. I just want to disappear. Monday morning hits like a freight train. First day back at the hospital after 3 weeks of personal leave. The moment I walk through those sliding glass doors, I feel every pair of eyes on me. The whispers start immediately. That's her. The one whose husband... I heard he was cheating for months. Poor thing, she had no idea. I keep my head down and head straight to the nurse's station. My friend Janet gives me a sympathetic smile. "How you holding up, honey?" "I'm fine. The lie comes easily now. I've been practicing it for weeks." "Sure you are." Janet hands me my patient assignments. "Take it easy today, okay? We've got your back." The day crawls by like molasses in January. Every routine task feels foreign, like I'm relearning how to be human. Mrs. Patterson in room 204 keeps asking about my husband, not knowing there isn't one anymore. By lunch, I'm ready to scream. "Clara?" Dr. Kim stops by the nurse's station. "You sure you're ready to be back? No judgment if you need more time." I need to work. I need the money, the distraction, the purpose. Without work, I'm just a middle-aged woman living in a studio apartment, eating microwaved dinners and crying during commercials. The afternoon shift change brings blessed relief. I can finally escape all the pitying looks and whispered conversations. My replacement Monica gives me the same concerned expression everyone's been wearing around me. "Take care of yourself," she says, squeezing my shoulder. I nod and grab my purse, practically running for the elevator. The parking garage is nearly empty by the time I reach my car. That's when it hits me, the full weight of everything I've lost. The tears come hard and fast, months of held-back emotion pouring out in ugly, choking sobs. This is my life now. This is what starting over looks like. 3 weeks into my new routine, I'm learning to hate mornings. The alarm screams at 5:30, and I drag myself out of bed like I'm moving through quicksand. Coffee, shower, uniform. Same damn thing every day. At least the monotony keeps me from thinking too much about how empty my life has become. The bus stop is crowded with the usual suspects. Construction workers heading to job sites, hotel staff starting early shifts, and a few tourists who clearly took a wrong turn somewhere. I find my usual spot near the back, earbuds in, trying to disappear into the crowd. My lawyer calls as we're pulling away from the third stop. "Clara, we need to discuss the final settlement papers." David's attorney is pushing back on the alimony terms. "Can't this wait?" I whisper, aware of the other passengers. "He's claiming financial hardship. Says the business is struggling." Financial hardship. The man drives a BMW and belongs to 3 country clubs. I grip the phone tighter. "Just handle it, okay? I can't deal with this right now." The bus lurches forward, and I'm lost in the conversation, barely aware of my surroundings. David wants to reduce my already pathetic alimony by half. 15 years of marriage, and he's counting pennies like I'm some kind of gold digger. "Ma'am? Ma'am, you need to hold on." The bus driver's voice cuts through my anger, but it's too late. He slams the brakes hard, and physics takes over. My phone goes flying as I crash into the person sitting across from me. We go down in a tangle of arms and legs, my purse spilling its contents across the floor. "Damn it," I mutter, scrambling to collect my scattered belongings. Lipstick, pens, loose change rolling everywhere. "I'm so sorry, are you okay?" That's when I look up and see her. Blonde hair catching the morning sunlight, blue eyes the color of deep ocean water. She's maybe a few years younger than me, wearing a crisp white blouse that somehow survived our collision without a single wrinkle. I'm fine, she says, her voice warm with amusement. Though I think your phone took the worst of it. Sure enough, my cell phone is face down near the front of the bus. She retrieves it before I can move, checking the screen. Still works. You're lucky. Lucky isn't exactly how I describe my life lately. The words slip out before I can stop them. Great, Clara. Share your problems with a complete stranger. But she doesn't look annoyed. Instead, she hands me my phone with a gentle smile. Rough morning? Rough year, actually. I'm gathering the last of my things, trying not to stare at her. There's something about her that makes me feel off balance, and not just because of our collision. I'm Kinsley, she says, extending her hand. And you look like you could use a friend. Clara. Her handshake is firm, confident. Thanks for helping with my stuff. I'm not usually this much of a disaster. Could have fooled me. There's a teasing lilt in her voice that makes me blush. But hey, we all have our days. The bus pulls up to my stop, and I realize I don't want this conversation to end, which is weird because I've been avoiding human contact for weeks. But something about Kinsley feels different. Safe, maybe. Or dangerous. I can't tell which. This is me, I say, standing reluctantly. Take care of yourself, Clara. The way she says my name sends an unexpected shiver down my spine. Maybe we'll crash into each other again sometime. I'm still thinking about that comment as I walk into the hospital. Crash into each other again. There was something in the way she said it, like she wouldn't mind if it happened. Like maybe she'd been watching me on the bus longer than just this morning. I shake my head, forcing myself to focus. The last thing I need right now is to start reading meaning into innocent conversations with strangers. I'm a mess. My divorce isn't even finalized, and I'm living in a studio apartment that smells like the previous tenant's cat. But despite all my rational thinking, I can't stop replaying those blue eyes and that warm smile. For the first time in months, I find myself actually looking forward to tomorrow morning's bus ride. 2 days later, I'm assigned to the surgical recovery wing. Mrs. Eleanor Reed, 72 years old, hip replacement surgery. Standard procedure, but she's having complications with her blood pressure. I'm checking her vitals when someone clears their throat behind me. Excuse me, are you Mrs. Reed's nurse? I turn around and my stomach drops. It's her. Kinsley from the bus, standing in the doorway with a concerned expression and a bouquet of flowers. She's wearing dark jeans and a soft sweater that makes her eyes look even bluer than I remembered. Clara? Her face lights up with recognition. What are the odds? Small island, I manage, trying to keep my voice professional. You must be Mrs. Reed's daughter. Guilty as charged. She steps closer and I catch a hint of her perfume. Something light and floral. How is she doing? Her blood pressure spiked after surgery, but we're monitoring it closely. She's stable. I focus on the chart in my hands, afraid to meet her eyes. Doctor Patel will be by this afternoon to discuss her progress. Mrs. Reed stirs in her bed. Kinsley, is that you, sweetheart? I'm here, Mom. Kinsley moves to the bedside, taking her mother's hand. The tenderness in that simple gesture catches me off guard. How are you feeling? Like I've been hit by a truck, Mrs. Reed says with a weak laugh. But this lovely nurse has been taking excellent care of me. Has she now? Kinsley glances at me with something that looks like approval. Well, Clara certainly seems to know what she's doing. The way she says my name again, like she's been thinking about it. I busy myself adjusting Mrs. Reed's fore, trying to ignore the flutter in my chest. Over the next 3 days, Kinsley shows up like clockwork. Morning visits before work, lunch breaks, evening check-ins. She brings flowers, magazines, and homemade soup that makes the entire nurse's station smell like heaven. She's clearly devoted to her mother, but I can't help noticing how her attention keeps drifting to me. You work too hard, she tells me on Thursday afternoon. I'm updating her mother's pain medication schedule when she appears at my elbow. It's my job. I don't look up from the clipboard, safer that way. When's the last time you took a real break? I'm fine. The same lie I've been telling everyone for weeks. She's quiet for a moment. You know, Mom's been raving about you. Says you're the best nurse she's ever had. Your mother's very kind. I glance toward Mrs. Reed's bed, where she's napping peacefully. She's been a model patient. Unlike her daughter, who keeps pestering the staff with questions. This time, I do look at her, and there's something vulnerable in her expression. You're worried about her. That's normal. Is it normal that I keep finding excuses to come by when I know you're on shift? The question hangs between us like a live wire. My mouth goes dry, and I can feel heat creeping up my neck. I should check on my other patients. But I don't move. Neither does she. Clara, she says softly, would you maybe want to grab coffee sometime, away from all this hospital chaos? Every rational part of my brain screams no. I'm a mess, going through a divorce, questioning everything about my life. The last thing I need is to complicate things further. But when I look at Kinsley, all those logical arguments crumble. I don't know if that's a good idea, I whisper. Because of hospital policy, or because of something else? Before I can answer, Janet appears at the nurse's station. Clara, Dr. Patel needs to see you in room 312. Saved by medical demands. I hurry away, leaving Kinsley standing there with her unfinished question. But as I walk down the hall, I can feel her watching me, and part of me wants nothing more than to turn around and say yes. Friday evening, Kinsley arrives with coffee and pastries from the bakery downtown. Peace offering, she announces, setting the boxes on the counter. For the best nursing staff in Hawaii. The gesture wins over my colleagues immediately. Janet practically purrs as she bites into an apple Danish. Kinsley, you are an angel sent from heaven. Just trying to show my appreciation, Kinsley says, but her eyes find mine across the station. You all work so hard. When she hands me a cup of coffee, our fingers brush. It's the smallest contact, barely a second, but it sends electricity shooting up my arm. From the way her breath catches, I think she feels it too. Later, after visiting Hour's End, I find her in the hallway near the elevators. Thank you for the coffee, I say. That was thoughtful. You're welcome. She presses the down button, then turns to face me fully. Clara, about what I asked earlier. Kinsley, my life is complicated right now. Mine too, she says quietly. Maybe that's exactly why we should grab that coffee. The elevator arrives with a soft ding. She steps inside, holding the door open with her hand. Think about it? She asks. I nod, not trusting my voice. As the doors close between us, I realize I'm already thinking about it. In fact, I don't think I'll be able to stop. Mrs. Reed's discharge goes smoother than expected. Her blood pressure stabilized, her mobility improved, and Dr. Patel cleared her for home recovery. I help her into the wheelchair while Kinsley handles the paperwork at the nurse's station. You've been wonderful, dear. Mrs. Reed pats my hand. I hope I see you again under better circumstances. Take care of yourself, I tell her, meaning it. Follow the physical therapy schedule, and don't overdo it. Kinsley appears with the discharge papers and a small gift bag. For you, she says, pressing it into my hands before I can protest. Just a little something to say thank you. Inside is a bottle of expensive hand lotion and a note, for hands that heal. Coffee tomorrow? Kate. I look up to find her watching me expectantly. Mrs. Reed is observing this exchange with obvious interest, a knowing smile playing at her lips. I'll think about it, I manage. That's all I can ask, Kinsley says, but there's disappointment in her voice. After they leave, I stare at that note for way too long. Coffee tomorrow. Such a simple request, but it feels like standing at the edge of a cliff. One step forward, and everything changes. That evening, I text her, Luigi's Cafe on King Street, 7 o'clock. Her response comes back immediately. I'll be there. Luigi's is one of those hole-in-the-wall places that locals love and tourists never find. Small tables, mismatched chairs, and the best Italian coffee on the island. I arrive 15 minutes early, claiming a corner table where I can see the door. Kinsley walks in at exactly 7, scanning the room until she spots me. She's changed from her hospital clothes into a flowing dress that catches the evening light, her blonde hair loose around her shoulders. She looks beautiful in a way that makes my chest tight. You came, she says, sliding into the chair across from me. I said I would. You also said you'd think about it. I wasn't sure thinking would lead to showing up. The server appears before I can respond. We order coffee and share a slice of tiramisu that's probably more calories than I usually eat in a day. The conversation flows easier than I expected. We talk about work, about Hawaii, about everything except the obvious tension crackling between us. So, she says, stirring sugar into her espresso. Tell me about the complicated life that makes coffee with strangers such a big decision. We're not exactly strangers anymore. I take a sip of my cappuccino, buying time, and it's not that complicated. Just transitional. Transitional how? Divorce. The word still feels foreign in my mouth. 15 years of marriage, and apparently I never really knew my husband at all. Her expression softens with sympathy. I'm sorry. That must be incredibly difficult. The lawyers say it'll be final next month. Then I can officially start my new life as a single woman in her late 30s with a studio apartment and a goldfish. You have a goldfish? No, but it feels like the kind of pet a divorced woman should have. Low maintenance, no emotional attachment. She laughs, a rich sound that makes me smile despite everything. What would you get instead? If you could have any pet? A dog, maybe. Something big and loyal that would actually care if I came home. Dogs are good judges of character, she says. If you get one, I'd like to meet him. There's an assumption in that statement, like she expects to still be in my life when I make major pet decisions. It should scare me, but instead it feels like a warm hand on my shoulder. We walk along King Street afterward, the evening air soft and fragrant with plumeria. The conversation continues, lighter now, full of shared observations about the tourists stumbling out of bars and the street musicians setting up for the night crowd. There's something I should tell you, Kinsley says as we reach Waikiki Beach. The moon is full, casting silver light across the water. About my own complicated situation. Okay. We find a spot on the sand, kicking off our shoes. I broke up with someone 6 months ago, 3-year relationship that ended badly. She's quiet for a moment, watching the waves. She wanted different things than I did. She. The word hangs in the air between us, changing everything and nothing at the same time. I should be surprised, but somehow I'm not. Maybe I already knew, on some level. Maybe that's why I've been so drawn to her, so unsettled by her attention. What kind of different things? I ask. Marriage, kids, the whole domestic dream. I wasn't ready, and she couldn't wait anymore. Kinsley turns to look at me. I've been gun-shy about getting involved with anyone since then. But here you are, having coffee with your mother's nurse. Here I am, she agrees, taking a chance on someone who makes me want to be brave again. The waves crash against the shore, filling the silence between us. I should say something about being straight, about never having felt this way about a woman before. But the words won't come, because I'm not sure they're true anymore. Instead, I reach for her hand. Her fingers intertwine with mine, warm and sure, and something settles into place inside my chest. Clara, she whispers, and then she's leaning closer. The kiss starts soft, questioning. Her lips are gentle against mine, tasting like espresso and possibility. When I don't pull away, she deepens it, her free hand coming up to cup my cheek. I've been kissed thousands of times, but never like this. Never with this sense of coming home to something I didn't even know I was missing. When we break apart, I'm breathless and shaking. Was that okay? She asks. I answer by kissing her again. I wake up in Kinsley's bed with sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and no memory of how I got here. The sheets smell like her perfume, and there's a warm weight against my back that takes me a moment to realize is her arm draped over my waist. The previous night comes flooding back in waves. The beach, the kissing. The way she looked at me when she asked if I wanted to come back to her place. The gentle way she undressed me, her hands trembling slightly as she traced patterns on my skin. The soft gasps and whispered words in the darkness. The way she held me afterward, stroking my hair until I fell asleep. Oh God. What have I done? I slip out of bed carefully, trying not to wake her. My clothes are scattered across the floor like evidence of a crime. I grab them and tiptoe to the bathroom, catching sight of myself in the mirror. My hair is a mess. My lips are swollen, and there's a hickey on my neck that I definitely didn't have yesterday. I'm a married woman. Well, technically still married for another few weeks. And I just spent the night with someone who has curves in all the places David doesn't. My phone buzzes with a text from my lawyer. David's team wants to meet Thursday. Bring your financial records. Reality crashes back like a cold wave. I have a divorce to finalize, a life to rebuild, and now I've complicated everything by sleeping with a woman I barely know. Clara? Kinsley's voice is soft, concerned. You okay in there? Fine, I call back, pulling on my clothes with shaking hands, just getting dressed. When I emerge, she's sitting up in bed wearing an oversized t-shirt, her blonde hair tousled. She looks beautiful and content, and that makes everything worse. Coffee? She offers. I make a mean cup. I should go. I'm already reaching for my purse, avoiding her eyes. I have to work today. It's Saturday. I picked up an extra shift. Another lie. I seem to be getting good at those. Her expression shifts, becoming guarded. Clara, talk to me. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. This was a mistake. The words hang in the air like a slap. I see the hurt flash across her face before she schools her features into something neutral. I see. She gets up, wrapping her arms around herself. So last night was what, exactly? Research? Experimentation? It's not like that. But I can't explain what it was like, because I don't understand it myself. I'm going through a divorce. My life is a mess. I can't handle this right now. Handle what? Me? Or the fact that you enjoyed it more than you thought you would? Her words hit too close to home. I head for the door without answering. Clara. Wait. But I'm already gone, practically running down the hallway to the elevator. By the time I reach my car, I'm crying again. Angry tears this time, at myself for being such a coward. I spend the weekend avoiding my phone, which rings constantly with calls from Kinsley. I delete her voicemails without listening to them. Monday morning, I request a transfer to a different ward. When Janet asks why, I tell her I need a change of scenery. Tuesday brings 3 more missed calls and a text. Please talk to me. We can figure this out. I delete it without responding. Wednesday, Kinsley shows up at the hospital. I see her at the nurse's station talking to Janet, and I duck into the nearest patient room. Through the doorway, I watch Janet point in my direction, then shake her head when she realizes I'm hiding. She's been asking for you, Janet says when the coast is clear. What's going on between you two? Nothing. There's nothing going on. Bullshit. Janet crosses her arms. That woman looks like she's been hit by a truck, and you've been jumping at shadows all week. I can't deny it. I've been a wreck, throwing myself into work to avoid thinking about Saturday night. But it's not working. I keep remembering the way Kinsley looked at me, the gentle way she touched me, the sound of her laughing at something I said. I screwed up, I admit. I got involved with someone when I should have kept my distance. So fix it. It's not that simple. Why not? You like her, right? She obviously likes you. What's the problem? The problem is that I don't know who I am anymore. The problem is that I've spent 15 years thinking I was one person, and now I'm discovering I might be someone completely different. The problem is that Kinsley makes me feel things I don't have names for, and that terrifies me. I need to focus on my divorce, I say finally. I can't handle anything else right now. Thursday's meeting with David and the lawyers is a nightmare. He's fighting every line item, challenging my right to alimony, claiming I'm hiding assets. His attorney suggests I might be having an affair since I've been acting strangely lately. My client's personal life is not relevant to this proceeding, my lawyer says, but I can see the question in his eyes. Am I having an affair? Does one night with someone count? Does it matter that it was with a woman instead of a man? By the time I get home, I'm emotionally drained. I pour myself a glass of wine and sit on my tiny balcony, staring out at the city lights. My phone rings again. Kinsley's name on the screen. This time, I answer. Don't hang up, she says immediately. Please, just give me 5 minutes. Kinsley, I can't do this. Can't do what? Can't be honest about what happened between us? Can't admit that you felt something real? I'm married. You're getting divorced. There's a difference. My life is falling apart. I don't know who I am anymore. Then let me help you figure it out. The offer is tempting, but I'm not brave enough to take it. I need space. How much space? A week? A month? Forever? I don't know. The silence stretches between us. Finally, she sighs. Okay, I'll give you space. But Clara, what we had was real. When you're ready to stop running from that, call me. She hangs up, and I'm left staring at my phone, wondering if I've just made the biggest mistake of my life. 2 weeks of radio silence from Kinsley, and I'm beginning to think I actually managed to drive her away for good. Part of me is relieved. The other part keeps checking my phone like a lovesick teenager, hoping for a text that never comes. Sarah calls Friday afternoon while I'm folding laundry in my depressing little apartment. Girls' night, she announces. No arguments. You've been moping around long enough. I'm not moping. You're moping. Meet me at Murphy's Pub at 8. Wear something that doesn't scream recently divorced and dead inside. Sarah's been my best friend since nursing school. 15 years of shared secrets and terrible decisions. She knows about David's cheating, about the divorce proceedings. But I haven't told her about Kinsley. How do you explain that you might be attracted to women to someone who's known you as completely straight for decades? Murphy's is crowded, filled with locals drowning their sorrows in cheap beer and karaoke. Sarah waves me over to a corner booth, already 3 drinks ahead of me. You look terrible, she says cheerfully. When's the last time you ate actual food? I eat. Coffee and granola bars don't count. She signals the waitress. We're getting nachos, and you're going to tell me what's really going on. I order a whiskey sour, then another. Sarah matches me drink for drink while grilling me about my emotional state. She's always been able to read me like an open book, but tonight I'm determined to keep my secrets buried. There's something you're not telling me, she says after my 3rd drink. You're different lately. Distracted in a way that has nothing to do with David. Different? How? I don't know. Nervous. Like you're hiding something. She leans closer, her dark eyes searching my face. Clara, you know you can tell me anything, right? The alcohol is making me emotional. Sarah's been there through everything. My wedding, my mother's death, every crisis and celebration. If I can't trust her with this, who can I trust? What if I told you I might not be who I thought I was? I say carefully. What do you mean? What if I told you I kissed someone, and it wasn't a man? Sarah blinks, processing this information. You kissed a woman? Maybe. Was it good? The question catches me off guard. What? The kiss. Was it good? Did you like it? That's your response? Not shock or judgment, just whether it was good. Sarah shrugs. Honey, I've been waiting for you to figure this out for years. You think I didn't notice how you never really seemed into the physical side of your marriage, or how you always found excuses not to talk about sex? I had sex with my husband. You had obligatory married person sex. There's a difference. She reaches across the table and takes my hand. So tell me about her. The story pours out of me. Kinsley, the hospital, the coffee date, the night I spent in her bed. Sarah listens without interrupting, occasionally nodding or making encouraging noises. And now you're avoiding her because you're scared, she concludes when I finish. I'm not scared. I'm confused. Same thing. Sarah drains her beer and stands up unsteadily. Come on, let's get out of here. We Uber back to my apartment, both of us more drunk than we should be. Sarah collapses on my couch while I make coffee, hoping to sober us up before she drives home. You know what your problem is? She says when I hand her a mug. You're overthinking everything. I'm processing a major life revelation. You're making excuses. She sets down her coffee and looks at me seriously. Clara, I've known you for 15 years. I've watched you force yourself into a box that never really fit. Maybe this woman is showing you who you really are. Maybe she's just a rebound. Only one way to find out. Sarah stands up and moves closer, close enough that I can smell her perfume. She's always been beautiful. Long dark hair, olive skin, curves in all the right places. But she's also been safely off limits, categorized in my mind as just a friend. What are you doing? I ask, but I don't step away. Research, she murmurs, echoing Kinsley's accusation from 2 weeks ago. She kisses me before I can protest. It's different from kissing Kinsley. More familiar, but less electric. Sarah's lips are soft and she tastes like beer and lip gloss. When she pulls back, we're both breathing hard. Well? She whispers. Sarah, we can't. You're my best friend. I know. But I've been in love with you since nursing school. The confession hits me like a physical blow. What? I've been waiting for you to figure out who you are, watching you pretend to be happy with David when I could have made you so much happier. Her hands frame my face. I know you, Clara. I know what you need. She kisses me again, deeper this time, and I find myself responding despite every rational thought in my head. This is Sarah, my best friend, the person who knows all my secrets. It should feel wrong, but it doesn't. It feels safe and familiar and completely different from the way Kinsley made me feel. We end up in my bed, moving together with the desperate fumbling of two people who know they're making a mistake but can't seem to stop. Sarah's touch is gentle, patient, like she has all the time in the world to explore this new territory between us. But even as my body responds to her, part of my mind is somewhere else, thinking about blue eyes and blonde hair, and the way Kinsley looked at me like I was something precious. Afterward, we lie tangled in my sheets, neither of us speaking. The alcohol has worn off, leaving behind the harsh clarity of what we've just done. Damn, Sarah whispers finally. I've been wanting to do that for a very long time. I turn to look at her, this woman who's been my closest friend for half my adult life. Sarah, I don't know what this means. It means whatever you want it to mean. But that's not true, and we both know it. You can't sleep with your best friend and pretend it doesn't change everything, and you can't use one person to avoid your feelings for another without someone getting hurt. I close my eyes and wonder how I managed to complicate my already complicated life even further. Sarah leaves before dawn, slipping out of my bed while I pretend to sleep. The sound of my front door closing echoes through the apartment like a gunshot. I lie there staring at the ceiling, wondering how I managed to mess up 2 relationships in the span of a month. My phone sits silent on the nightstand. No calls, no texts, no signs of life from either of the women I've apparently hurt. I drag myself to work like a zombie, throwing myself into patient care to avoid thinking about my personal disasters. You look like hell, Janet observes during lunch break. And that's saying something, considering your usual post-divorce appearance. I pick at my sandwich without appetite. Thanks for the pep talk. What happened with you and Sarah? She called looking for you yesterday, sounded weird. We had a disagreement. About what? Nothing important. Everything important, actually, but I can't explain that to Janet without revealing the whole sordid story. For 3 days, I managed to maintain the illusion that I can handle this alone. Then Kinsley shows up at the hospital again. I see her talking to Dr. Patel near the elevator, and my heart starts racing like I've just run a marathon. She's lost weight, I notice. Her clothes hang a little loose, and there are shadows under her blue eyes that weren't there before. But she still looks beautiful, still carries herself with that quiet confidence that drew me to her in the first place. I duck into the supply closet like a coward, listening to my own rapid breathing in the dark. This is ridiculous. I'm a grown woman hiding in a closet from someone I slept with. How did my life become a bad romantic comedy? The door opens, flooding the small space with light. Really, Clara? A supply closet? Kinsley stands in the doorway, arms crossed, looking more amused than angry. I've been caught red-handed, literally surrounded by bedpans and gauze. I'm just getting supplies. For what? An emergency hiding situation? I push past her into the hallway, but she follows. We need to talk. I'm working. Then, we'll talk while you work. She falls into step beside me as I head toward the nurse's station. I know about Sarah. That stops me cold. What? Your friend came to see me yesterday. Nice woman. Very protective of you. Kinsley's voice is carefully neutral. She wanted to make sure I understood the situation. My stomach drops. What situation? That you're confused and vulnerable, and I should stay away while you figure things out with her. Heat floods my cheeks. Sarah went to Kinsley without telling me? She had no right to do that. Agreed. Which is why I'm here instead of respecting her request. Kinsley stops walking and turns to face me. Is it true? Are you and Sarah together now? The question hangs between us like a live wire. I could lie, tell her yes, and end this conversation forever. It would be easier than admitting I don't know what I want or who I am. It's complicated. That seems to be your favorite phrase. Kinsley's composure cracks slightly, showing the hurt underneath. Look, I get it. You're scared, this is new territory. But sleeping with your best friend to avoid dealing with us isn't fair to anyone. There is no us. Bullshit. The curse word sounds strange in her usually gentle voice. There was definitely an us that night on the beach. And in my bed. You can't fake that kind of connection. Other staff members are starting to notice our conversation. I grab Kinsley's arm and pull her toward an empty patient room, closing the door behind us. Fine, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. You want to know the truth? That night scared the hell out of me. I've never felt anything like that before, and I don't know what to do with it. So you ran straight to Sarah. Sarah's safe. She's familiar, she knows me. And I don't? You know me for 2 weeks. Sarah's known me for 15 years. Kinsley steps closer, close enough that I can smell her perfume again. Knowledge and understanding are different things, Clara. Sarah might know your history, but I see who you are right now. And who am I right now? Someone who's brave enough to kiss a woman on a beach, but too scared to admit she liked it. Someone who's spent 15 years in the wrong marriage, but is afraid to try the right one. Her words hit like physical blows. You think you're the right one? I think we could be something amazing if you'd stop running long enough to find out. The room feels smaller suddenly, the walls pressing in around us. Kinsley reaches up to touch my face, her thumb tracing the line of my cheekbone. Tell me you didn't feel anything, she says softly. Tell me that night meant nothing, and I'll walk away right now. I should lie. I should protect us both from whatever this is. Instead, I close my eyes and lean into her touch. I can't tell you that. Then what are we doing here? Why are we wasting time pretending this isn't real? Before I can answer, someone tries the door handle. We spring apart like teenagers caught making out, hearts pounding as footsteps continue down the hallway. This is insane, I whisper. We can't keep doing this. Doing what? Having honest conversations? Admitting we have feelings for each other? Complicating everything. Kinsley's expression hardens. Your life was already complicated, Clara. I'm not the one who made it that way. She's right, and that makes it worse. David complicated my life when he cheated. The divorce complicated my life with its legal battles and financial stress. I complicated my life when I slept with Sarah. Kinsley isn't the problem here. She's just the one brave enough to ask for what she wants. I need time, I say finally. To figure out what I want. To end things properly with Sarah. To get my divorce finalized. How much time? I don't know. Kinsley studies my face for a long moment. Okay. But I'm not waiting forever, Clara. And I'm not going to compete with someone who's using your confusion to manipulate you into a relationship. Sarah's not manipulating me. Isn't she? She's been in love with you for 15 years, but never said anything until now, when you're at your most vulnerable? The observation stings because it rings true. Sarah did wait until I was questioning everything to make her move, but that doesn't necessarily make her motives selfish. I should get back to work, I say. Kinsley nods and opens the door. For what it's worth, I hope you figure it out soon. Life's too short to waste on the wrong people. She leaves me standing in the empty room, surrounded by the ghosts of all the words we didn't say. 3 more weeks pass like a slow-motion disaster. Sarah calls constantly, wanting to talk about us and define our relationship. I dodge her calls the same way I've been avoiding Kinsley's. My divorce papers arrive on a Tuesday, official and final. 15 years of marriage reduced to legal documents and a dividing of assets. I should feel relief. Instead, I feel empty. The breaking point comes when Sarah shows up at my apartment with Chinese takeout and a bottle of wine. She's made herself comfortable on my couch, shoes off, acting like we're a couple now. We need to discuss what happens next, she says, opening the wine without asking. I've been thinking about us getting a place together. Sarah, we're not together. We slept together. We have history. We care about each other. That doesn't make us a couple. Her face falls. What are you saying? I'm saying I used you. I was confused and scared, and I used our friendship to avoid dealing with my real feelings. For her? For that woman you knew for 5 minutes? Her name is Kinsley. And yes. Sarah sets down her wineglass hard enough to slosh liquid onto my coffee table. You're making a mistake, Clara. I know you better than anyone. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I need someone who doesn't know the old me. Someone who can see who I might become. And what if she breaks your heart? What if this is just some phase you're going through? Then I'll deal with it. But I can't keep hiding from who I really am. Sarah stares at me for a long moment, hurt and anger warring in her expression. I've been in love with you for half my life. I know. And I'm sorry I can't return those feelings the way you deserve. So that's it. 15 years of friendship down the drain? That's not what I want. But we can't go back to the way things were before. She gathers her things and heads for the door. When this blows up in your face, don't expect me to pick up the pieces. After she leaves, I sit in my empty apartment staring at the divorce papers. Officially single for the first time in 15 years, having just ended my oldest friendship, and the woman I actually want thinks I'm a coward who can't make decisions. Time to change that. I spend the next morning researching Kinsley's marketing firm online. Pacific Creative Solutions, downtown Honolulu, 15th floor of a gleaming glass building. I put on my best dress, The blue one that David always said made my eyes look green, and drive into the city. The lobby is all marble and modern art, intimidating as hell. I tell the receptionist I'm there to see Kinsley Reed, expecting to be turned away or told she's busy. She's in a meeting, but let me check if she can see you, the woman says, making a phone call. 5 minutes later, Kinsley emerges from the elevator, looking professional in a charcoal suit and heels. Her expression is carefully neutral when she sees me. Clara, what are you doing here? I need to talk to you. I'm in the middle of a client presentation. Please. Just 5 minutes. She checks her watch, then nods toward a seating area near the windows. 5 minutes. We sit across from each other in expensive leather chairs, the entire city spread out below us. I've rehearsed this speech a dozen times, but now that I'm here, the words feel inadequate. I ended things with Sarah, I begin. Good for you. I got my divorce papers yesterday. Congratulations. Her tone is polite but distant, like she's talking to a stranger. I deserve that, but it still hurts. I'm sorry, I say. For running away, for being a coward, for wasting so much time. Are you finished wasting time? Yes. I want to try again. With you. If you'll have me. Kinsley studies my face like she's looking for lies. What's changed? Me. I've changed. I know who I am now, and I know what I want. Which is? You. This. Whatever we could be together. She's quiet for so long I start to think she's going to send me away. Finally she speaks. I can't do this halfway, Clara. I won't be your experiment, or your rebound, or your way of rebelling against your old life. That's not what this is. Then what is it? I take a deep breath. It's me finally being brave enough to say I'm in love with you. The words hang between us like a bridge I've just built with my bare hands. Kinsley's professional mask slips, showing surprise and something that might be hope. You love me? I think I started falling the moment you helped me pick up my scattered things on that bus. Everything since then has just been me running from that feeling. That was weeks ago. I'm a slow learner. A smile tugs at the corner of her mouth. What about your job, your friends? People are going to talk. Let them talk. I'm tired of living my life based on other people's expectations. Kinsley glances around the lobby, then stands up. Come with me. She leads me to a conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows and closes the door behind us. The space is empty except for a long table and dozen chairs, but it feels intimate with just the two of us. If we do this, she says, I need you to promise me something. What? No more running. When things get difficult, we talk about it. We don't shut down or disappear or sleep with other people. I promise. And no more hiding. I'm not going to be your secret. I don't want you to be a secret. She steps closer, close enough that I can see the flecks of silver in her blue eyes. Are you sure about this? Because once I kiss you, I'm not letting you go again. I'm sure. She kisses me then, soft at first, then deeper when I respond. Her hands come up to frame my face, and I realize I'm crying. Happy tears, relief tears, tears for all the time we wasted being afraid. When we break apart, she rests her forehead against mine. I love you too, she whispers. I have since that first night on the beach. Even when I was being an idiot? Especially when you were being an idiot. Through the conference room windows, I can see the city sprawling toward the ocean, full of possibility and promise. My old life is over, but my new one is just beginning. 3 months later, I'm standing in the kitchen of our new beachfront condo, watching Kinsley make coffee in nothing but one of my old nursing school t-shirts. The morning light streaming through our windows turns her blonde hair golden, and I still can't believe this is my life now. Stop staring and help me with breakfast, she says without turning around, but I can hear the smile in her voice. I like staring at you. We'll be late for work if you keep that up. Our morning routine has become sacred. Coffee, breakfast, 20 minutes on the balcony watching the waves crash against Diamond Head. It's simple and perfect and everything I never knew I wanted. My phone buzzes with a text from my supervisor. Great job on the Morrison case. The family specifically requested you for their next admission. Working at the hospital feels different now. I'm more confident, more present with my patients. Having something good waiting for me at home makes everything else easier to handle. Good news? Kinsley asks, handing me a cup of coffee. Mrs. Morrison's family wants me to handle their next case. Apparently, Word is getting around that I'm good at my job. You've always been good at your job. Now you just believe it. She's right. The old Clara was competent but invisible, going through the motions without really engaging. This version of me actually cares about making a difference, about being seen and recognized for my skills. The doorbell interrupts my thoughts. Through the peephole, I see Sarah standing in the hallway with a bottle of wine and a nervous expression. It's Sarah, I tell Kinsley, who raises an eyebrow but doesn't comment. I open the door cautiously. We haven't spoken since that awful night in my apartment. Hi. Hi. She looks past me to where Kinsley is visible in the kitchen. Can we talk for a minute? Sarah. Please. I owe you both an apology. Kinsley appears at my shoulder, sliding an arm around my waist in a gesture that's both protective and possessive. It's okay, she tells me quietly. Let her say whatever she needs to say. We move to the living room, Sarah perched uncomfortably on the edge of our couch, while Kinsley and I settle into our usual spots on the love seat. I've been seeing a therapist, Sarah begins, trying to understand why I handled everything so badly. Okay. She made me realize I was using our friendship as an excuse not to date anyone else. If I could convince myself I was in love with you, I didn't have to risk getting hurt by someone new. I feel Kinsley's hand squeeze mine. Sarah, you don't have to. Yes, I do. I sabotaged your happiness because I was scared of losing you, and then I lost you anyway. She looks directly at Kinsley. I'm sorry for ambushing you at your office. That was manipulative and wrong. Thank you, Kinsley says simply. Sarah turns back to me. I miss my best friend. I know things can't go back to the way they were, but maybe we can find a new normal? The old Clara would have immediately said yes, would have smoothed things over and pretended nothing had changed. But I'm not that person anymore. I miss you too, I say carefully. But I need to know you're really okay with this, with us. Honestly, I'm working on it. But I can see how happy you are, and I want that for you. She stays for dinner, the conversation tentative but genuine. When she meets Marcus, her new boyfriend from the hospital cafeteria, she seems lighter somehow, more herself than she's been in years. Thank you, I tell Kinsley later as we're cleaning up, for giving her a chance. She's important to you. That makes her important to me. That evening, we're curled up on the couch watching a terrible movie when Kinsley suddenly mutes the TV. I have something for you, she says, reaching into her purse. She pulls out a small velvet box, and my heart stops. Kinsley. Relax, it's not what you think. But she's grinning as she opens it. Though if you keep looking at me like that, I might have to reconsider. Inside is a simple silver ring with a small diamond. Not an engagement ring, but something more meaningful. Something that says I choose you, I choose this, I choose us. What is it? A promise ring. A symbol that we're in this together, whatever comes next. She slides it onto my right hand, and it fits perfectly. Like everything else about us, it just feels right. I love you, I tell her. The words coming easily now. I love you too. We kiss on the couch as the terrible movie plays silently in the background, and I think about how much my life has changed. 6 months ago, I was trapped in a loveless marriage, going through the motions of a life that didn't fit. Now I'm living with a woman who sees me clearly, who challenges me to be better, who makes me laugh every single day. It's not the life I planned. It's better. Later, as we're getting ready for bed, Kinsley catches my eye in the bathroom mirror. No regrets? Only that it took me so long to find you. We found each other when we were ready. She's right, as usual. The old Clara wasn't ready for this kind of love, this kind of honesty. She needed to break first, needed to lose everything she thought she wanted before she could understand what she actually needed. I look at the ring on my finger, at the woman brushing her teeth beside me, at our shared space full of compromised decorating choices and inside jokes. This is what home feels like. This is what love looks like. This is who I really am. And for the first time in my life, that's enough.